Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us at Women of Startup Nation, episode 4. As usual, it's been a very busy week in Israel, but today we don't want to focus on the current events. We actually want to introduce an amazing woman who is Israeli but lives abroad. And I'm going to let Fiammetta tell you a little bit more about her.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm very excited to have with us tonight Lihi Orbach. As we say, she's an Israeli, but she moved you will tell us later better, but she moved originally to New York and then to LA, where for 20 years was an audio post engineer till COVID arrived. And while we were all depressed at home, she found an amazing way to express the other artistic side of her. Just to give you an idea, this amazing jewelry that I'm wearing since last time I met Lihi, uh, it means freedom. But I will let Lihi tell more about what she's doing now. But first of all, Lihi, can you tell us a little bit about your journey, how you left Startup Nation to the Silicon Valley in a way, and how actually influenced your uh, first part of your life in Israel in the new life that you build, your family that you build in the US.
Yes. Hi. First of all, it
Welcome.
was
Welcome.
great to be here. Thank you. So I actually didn't, I moved to New York when I was 27. So up until then, living and studying and, just doing my life in Israel. Um, I had a degree in business management and marketing. I started working in advertising, and that's kind of how I fell in love with sound engineering from the client side as a producer. And moved to New York really just to study sound engineering. My goal was never to live in America, was never to build a life in America. I loved Israel very much. I loved my life. I loved my friends. But I wanted to study for a little bit and come back. And, life has a way of doing its own thing, regardless of what you feel about it or not. And, love kept me in America. That was really the only thing that kept me in America. And through love and meeting my boyfriend, who became my husband, my life in America continued. But I would say, growing up in Israel, the concept of I was raised in a home that was very much find what you love and do it. And especially in Israel, as opposed to America, the concept of women working, women creating careers, women building their academic and career life is a huge thing. Where, I found out in America, especially living in New York and LA, there's a lot of women who, if they don't have to work, choose not to. Where I feel that's a value that in Israel is very much, you grow up with this. You work, you express yourself, you're an individual who has something to say and you say it. Yeah, that I found, just growing up in Israel and in that environment was a huge, it was kind of like there's no other option, there's no other way. Of course, this is what I'm going to do. Yeah, so that's how it came to be.
Tell us about the switch from, I actually think it's very interesting studying business administration and then going into production and then leaving all that to become a jewelry design. What was it may be very natural for you, but for somebody who's more squared with the European
Mhm.
upbringing, it sounds very, very brave, very, very passionate. How was that?
Well,
What led you to it?
I would say, the going to Michlala Minhal, that's where I studied. Doing business management and marketing was the safe
Yeah.
route. I loved music all my life. Not a musician at all, but I was just obsessed with music. And art and creativity. I would say that I went to business management and marketing, like I said, because it was safe, and I was, to be very honest, scared of going into a creative realm where I have to expose myself and be vulnerable. But finishing school and then starting in advertising in Dachaf Echad, which was in Yafo at the time. It was a big advertising agency. And then falling in love with sound, it was kind of like clicked. Oh, here's this love of music that I have, and here's something that I can do with it that's not just creative, but also very technical. So there's like a very analytical, technical part of it. And it was kind of a beautiful marriage of two things that felt more aligned with me, and it was just something very exciting. And there was a woman mixer at the time in the post-production house in Tel Aviv that I went to, which was also like a mind-blowing experience because I mean, now there's so much more, but there was so little when I started, and even when I was working, so little. I was totally in a man's world, which is a whole other thing to deal with. um,
We will talk about that soon.
yes.
Yes.
So that also gave me a lot of confidence because she was like, "Wow, you have a really good ear." I lacked any of the technical terms to try to convey what I was missing in order to get to what I wanted to hear, but I knew exactly where the places that needed to be fixed. So she encouraged me a lot, and that gave me a lot of strength too, to just go and try and do it. So for me, I don't know, it's natural. I also grew up in a very creative household. There's a lot of creativity around me, so it wasn't that weird to do it. It
Okay.
was more scary. Yeah.
There is something very specific about your jewelry, which also connect us to what we're going to talk about soon. That is the legacy with your Jewish roots.
Mhm.
So maybe you can tell us more about.
Yes, yes, yes. So after a 20-year career in sound engineering, and I was getting in approaching 50, and that was for me like a big it's a big one.
A milestone, a milestone.
Yes, it's a big milestone, and it was a lot of what do I want to do? How do I want my next chapter in my life to be? And more meaning, the whole concept of I want to be in charge of what I put out in the world. I want to be in control of the narrative, not the director telling me what he wants. I don't want to do it for somebody else. I want to do it for me. And it's a very weird story how it came to be because I was never into jewelry or like obsessed with jewelry, none of that. I was just in a place of, okay, I'm going to cut a second and tell you a side note that I was doing a lot of my internal work of getting better between me and me for a long time. And so that was part of it. But I didn't know what my next thing would be. I was just very honest, getting very bored with doing sound mixing. It didn't fulfill me that it like it used to. I was doing a lot of commercials because I wanted more flexibility because I have children and just I really at the end didn't feel like it gave me anything except for money. But that can only take you so far. So um, I was searching for my next thing and just really meditating a lot and asking, please show me. I will say yes. Please give me something. I will say yes. And a friend came to me out of the blue. Hey, I have an idea for jewelry with Hebrew letters. I don't know anybody that speaks Hebrew or knows the Hebrew alphabet except for you. You want to help me? I was like, yeah, because I would say yes. And that, from that, from just doing custom Hebrew letter necklaces like this one, where you create your own, because I studied Kabbalah in New York, it became very apparent very quickly that this is fully my thing. I was like diving deep, all these ideas, just crazy bursts of creativity. I knew exactly what I wanted, how I wanted it to look like. And it was important for me, um, obviously, to do it in Hebrew because the stuff that I saw around me, what's called Judaica, was very antique, old, with all the
It's born.
Tanakh letters.
I love it. This new revival of Jewish uh culture and beauty and accessorize, it's amazing. It's amazing because
Ah,
we associate Judaica with the stuff that we have in our grandmother's
yes.
And Magen
vitrina.
David, which lately is not a good time to wear. So I was going to ask you, since October 7, if you felt that there was an impact on your sales, positive, negative, and soon we're going deeper about
Your
actually
personal.
how your life changed since October 7. Actually, maybe we can
Hmm.
talk about to get both sides
Sure.
of how your life changed,
Um,
our
I
life changed after October 7.
Yeah. So I would say business-wise, this business is really not even 5 years old. So it's still growing. I think part of it after October 7th, yes, I mean, I had no problem. This is me. These are my roots. I don't do a lot of like what's called normal Judaica anyway. I don't have a Magen David. I have chai, but it's in a ring and it doesn't look like a chai. And because I just like modern weird stuff.
I define
I don't do
rock
what everybody
Judaica.
else does.
Rock
Huh?
Judaica, I
What
love
I
it.
define rock Judaica.
Yeah. Like I don't do, I mean, if you want the traditional, I'm not your person
Sure.
anyway. Um, but yes, what's nice is that I do a lot of events, not just Jewish events, but other events. And I just did an event a couple of weeks ago, this women's about menopause and the strength of women after 50, which is great. And so many women came up to me, oh my God, it's so great to see Jewish stuff. It's so great to see Hebrew. Obviously, they were all Jewish, the women that came to me. But they thought it was great and they were really happy to see a representation, at an event that is not a Jewish event. Even though, I have a lot of collections that have nothing to do with Judaism, but that is definitely what sells the most. All the Hebrew letters and the Jewish stuff.
So how has October 7th and the last events, the last 2 years basically changed? Okay, your business wasn't affected, and which is great. But what about your daily life as an Israeli living in LA, or your kids? Has the impact strong for you,
Um,
so, and for your daily life?
so obviously, and I might start crying because I'm already doing it. October 7th was horrific. Um, One of my best friends lost her son that day. And four other people I grew up with high school, lost their children. A distant family member of ours was at the Nova Festival. She was 24 when she was murdered. So a lot of personal knowledge, especially my dear, dear friend, that is just, who we have been friends since our army days. Um, I think, besides the insane shock of that day, I also want to side note and say that my husband is not Israeli, he's not Jewish, and my kids are blonde with blue eyes. So, it's as far as them experiencing it, they're not directly affected by it, they're more affected by me
Yeah.
and my reaction and like everybody, I was glued to the TV. I was just like a couch potato with, ערוץ 12, 24 hours a day. Um, it was awful, and the fact that I'm far away and I can't be there and I can't offer support and connect was really, really, really difficult. And doing it in a household that doesn't understand me, because why would they? um, was also very difficult. So there were times where I felt very alone in my feelings, even though, I have an Israeli community here and we did come together a lot just to be with each other. To, just to get some a sense of community. Um, I would say, and for me personally, I'm a very sensitive person, and I could feel how I was going like
We know.
really down,
Yeah.
down about, humanity, the world, life. I go deep with my feelings, for better or for worse. And I had to start limiting the news because I was getting depressed. I
Yeah.
don't know any other way to say it. I was really, it just kind of took me down a very dark path. And I had to decide to start, like, who do I want to be in this time? Do I want to be a beacon of light and try to create light with what I do and focus on the light? Everybody's different, right? There's people that are on social media and, putting up and talking. It's not for me. Doing that kind of thing is not, it's not my way. I'm too sensitive. It's too harsh and divisive and aggressive. I need to do it in another way. So that's the way I chose to kind of deal with it. But it's there's
I
no
guess
words.
it's a process
Yeah.
that we are all going
But
through.
we kind of feel like with the return of the hostages, there's still the remains. There will be,
Yes.
but we feel somehow it's over, but it's not over. Even when the war really is gonna be over, I guess there is maybe now is the beginning of the
The beginning
processing.
of the beginning. Yeah.
I feel even that we've been rightly so focused on so much on the hostages, but we haven't even properly mourned the ones that were killed in a way. Only now we're
Yes.
we it it's so I love that you turn this darkness and this sadness and this depression into light, or at least you try to. I think it's something mainly whoever could that was not even directly affected really really tried to do that, and it's amazing. I think it's sort of very typical of the Jewish history,
Resilience also.
resilience.
Yes, the resilience, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like the difference between the American Jews, obviously, and Israelis living here is very, very different because, I think maybe we see it from a bit of a different angle, because we grew up in Israel and we were in the army and uh, we're we are, I guess, we're used to threats
Yeah.
on our body, land, territory. America doesn't have much threats to the land here. So even for Jews living here, what I found, and obviously there's everything from everything, but they come from a different way of looking at it. It's more, that's what I found at least. I felt that it was more stemming from like Holocaust experiences. Obviously, it triggered a lot of Holocaust trauma for everybody, but I felt, obviously they don't have a full understanding of the situation, or they have a lot of solidarity, but not a full understanding. So, yeah, I really relied on my Israeli friends here, and we relied on each other for strength and for solace and for comfort and for community. Yeah, which, doesn't really help, but it's something.
No, it's crucial.
Yeah,
I
it's
think it kept
crucial.
us
Yeah.
all alive during those very dark days that are not over yet.
No.
And but we would like also to end the episode with a kind of a positive message and hope. And since we're talking about Women of Startup Nation, we always ask to our guests, there is a woman, maybe a Jewish woman that was very inspiring for you and that you would like to quote to before we end this episode?
I think a woman for me that comes to mind is Judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who, obviously is a Jewish woman that was born in her 30s and became the second woman to be on the US Supreme Court. Huge advocate for women's rights and women equality. Um, just a big badass, studied, was in a man's world, went against all odds, had a very supportive husband, which is kind of amazing at the time, who was like, yes, go learn, go study, go be. And she had very strong opinions and, she fought hard for women's rights with children. She kind of did it all, really against all odds. So I love a good badass.
We love her. We're big fans as well.
Yeah.
So, Lihi, thank you so much. We're gonna post down in the chat the link to your jewelry store, online store. You ship
Hmm.
as well, right?
Of course,
She ship all around the world, first of all,
Okay.
because we have
all around the world. But yes, it's America or Israel where I ship. Yes,
You might see some sudden spike in the sales in Italy.
I would.
Uh,
we
Oh,
have a lot of followers since we're both Italians.
but thank you so much. It's been
thank
great.
you.
And many wishes for a lot of success. And we look forward to welcome you physically in Israel soon,
As soon as you're
hopefully.
back, we are all waiting for you. And
Yes,
I want
thank
to
you.
tell one more thing, not only to you, to the people that are following us. There were very hard moments in the last 2 years, and to me, wearing this jewelry, that for who doesn't know Hebrew, maybe you want to explain the meaning of this word?
Yes. So this is based on Kabbalah, obviously, the mysticism of Judaism. And in Kabbalah, there is something called the 72 names of God. So there are 72 three-letter combinations that were taken from the story of the Bible of the parting of the Red Sea. So Kabbalists took three sentences out of that story, and they say that those three sentences are encoded with sacred combinations. Each combination attracts a different energy of the divine that exists in the universe. So I chose 10 of these combinations that I connect with their messaging, and I made jewelry out of them. So what Fia has is the combination Mem Tzadik Reish, which is freedom. Freedom, and it's freedom from limiting beliefs, freedom from attachments, how I should be doing, what I should be doing. And if we are able to kind of detach ourselves really from the outcome, from the negative thoughts or the limiting beliefs that we have, we can create freedom for ourselves. And that is really the whole goal of my jewelry, is to create messages on my body. So it's jewelry with meaning. Everything has a meaning. So when I look at mine is healing. When I look at this ring, when I look at this, everything has a meaning, and it kind of creates a source of power and a source of connection. I'm like, okay, oh wow, healing. I'm now switching my viewpoint, my focal point, and concentrating on things that are important to me, things that move me forward, things that lead me in the path to where I want to go. So it's like a kind of like a tattoo, but it's jewelry, keeps you focused. So I'm very happy you felt that way.
I really did. So looking out for more healing and more freedom. Uh,
Yes, amen.
and power and power.
And power.
Thank you
Exactly.
so much,
It was a pleasure, girls.
and see you soon on Woman of Tower Nation.
Yeah.
Yes, salam tak from LA.
Ciao. Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.